Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Bathgate. I am your cellist and host for this evening's performance. So happy to be here. I'm so happy that all of you tuned in this evening, and I am so grateful to have been invited to perform on this spring's Cello Club conference at the University of Kansas. I was very lucky to be invited last spring to perform there. Of course, it didn't happen because of the pandemic, but they rallied so quickly and turned it all into a virtual festival. We had a blast, and I know that this conference is also going to be a blast, especially with all the amazing cellists and artists that they've invited to perform. So I feel really lucky to be included among those people. Big shout out to my friend and colleague Hannah Collins, to Bella Schwerin, and the entire cello student body at the University of Kansas. Thank you for having me, and thank you for organizing such a cool festival. So the title of this week's conference is Exploring Social Issues in Music. And I think that in addition to the personal struggles we've all faced during this past year, we've also had to tackle some pretty big ones, and we're kind of just at the beginning of that journey, I think, of diversifying across the board, being more inclusive, being all-inclusive. I, like many of my colleagues, have begun to think much more carefully and thoughtfully about this in terms of the music that I commission and the concerts that I produce and create going forward. I think one of the silver linings and what was kind of a luxury for me during this past year was being home so much, not touring, not having this crazy busy schedule. I was able to actually listen. I was able to listen to the people who were speaking around me, to my music community. I heard music that I had not heard before from composers I had not heard of, and this includes living composers and people who are no longer with us. I really saw my colleagues celebrating music in a way that I had not seen before. And so I felt very fortunate to just be around and to have the time to absorb that and to take it into me. And I learned an incredible amount. And so I'm excited to be meeting new people, and I really hope you enjoy this music that I've picked for this evening. So I've also asked each of the four composers that you're going to meet to do a little video intro. They're going to talk to you about their work, their process, and the pieces that they've written for me. These are four new works that have come out of this past year. And I'm so excited about the music, yes, but just that we kept going through this time, while all in isolation. I haven't even met these composers in person. We've been working together on Zoom, through email, sending, music files back and forth. I just have to thank them profusely for their generosity, their time, their work. It's been challenging for us all, no doubt. Everybody's had their own stuff going on. I found it incredibly hard to work at certain points during the year, and kind of, the energy for creativity would come in fits and starts. It wasn't always there, and just having people who are going through the same thing and who are doing the same thing that you're doing, kind of cheering you on, has been invaluable. And so I feel just really lucky, all the people that I met and worked with during this time. And I'm really excited to present these works, and just want to say a profound thanks to Eli Trakhtenburg Anuj Bhutani, Samantha Wolf, and Adeliia Faizullina. You really carried me through this 2020 and part of 2021. It's spring now, and I'm starting to see a little bit of work coming back. Got on my first plane the other day, and I'm seeing, of course, on social media, like my colleagues and friends, the same thing is happening, and I think we're all celebrating and really crying for joy to see that live music is gonna come back, and I think it will. But in the meantime, we have this platform, and we're able to bring you these new works virtually. So I guess without further ado, I'm going to let Adeliia introduce the first piece. Let's hear some music.
Hi, I am Adeliia Faizullina, and I'm very excited to present my piece Lonely Fire that I wrote for the amazing Ashley Bathgate and for the next Festival of Emerging Artists. This piece is based on the poem by Tatar poet Musa Jalil, 1906-1944. I was so excited when I learned I will be writing a piece for Ashley and that she's interested in the piece for singing cellist. I really loved the idea and wrote Lonely Fire for her. About the poem, as I mentioned, it is written by Tatar poet Musa Jalil. He participated in the Second World War. He was kept in the concentration camp and was killed there in 1944. He wrote Lonely Fire during those difficult times. The translation in English that you will hear in the performance is by my wonderful friend Olga Baratova and her colleague Dai. The image of lonely fire surrounded by shadows, gloom, fog really reflects our times, our difficult times. This beautiful image of fire is, to me, a flame of art that we have in us as creators, as performers, and we want to deliver this image, this message to the world, to our colleagues, to our friends, as our art, as our work, even through the distance. The beautiful line in the poem that says, "The sound flying over earth, will it be heard? Will it be found?" also reflects this idea. I'm so happy we still can create and through the distance share our art.
Surrounded by shadows, surrounded by shadows, shadows. The fog-like sea embraces me. A stranger lost in vastness, a stranger lost in vastness, a stranger. The light of fire, 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 fire. Will it be found? Found? The sound flying over earth. Will it be heard? Heard? Will it be answered? Answered?
Hi there, my name is Samantha Wolf and I'm so excited to introduce you to my new piece, Cocoon. When I first started thinking about what I wanted to write for Ashley, I imagined a warm, calm, resonant space filled with frequencies so low that you could feel as well as hear them. I think the urge to hibernate for the winter was really strong at that time, as I distinctly remember wanting to sonify the feeling of stepping into a hot bath with candles flickering in the distance. So pretty much straight away, I knew that this piece would have a lot of long, low tones, possibly a drone, lots of reverb, and a general bent towards gradually unfolding sounds rather than sudden dramatic changes. Ashley jumped in right away and was incredible at isolating the parameters that we could amplify and play with, and explaining all of the intricacies of elements like scordatura, bow position, EQ, and vibrato, all elements that I was really excited to learn about as a wind player especially. The version of Cocoon that you're about to hear is still somewhat of a prototype. The audio for the drone and the melody part, if you could call it that, were recorded separately and then layered together. But what I'm hoping to do next is to find a way to realize this in live performance so that even when we return to in-person performances, we can still enjoy the warm, resonant space that this piece creates. Thanks for listening, and I hope that you enjoy Cocoon.
Hey, my name is Eli Trakhtenburg. I'm a senior STS and music tech student at Stevens Institute of Technology, and I had composed this piece for a final project in a composition course that I took last semester with Professor Pfefferman, who is an awesome composer. You should check her out. And from the beginning, I had known that this piece was going to be written for Ashley, and I had known that, she is incredible with all of these extended techniques, and I really wanted to have, her playing shine through and kind of carry the song from start to finish. And I also wanted to experiment with alternative forms of scoring and just kind of going into like different kinds of notation and ways of thinking about it. So I had started writing this piece by putting together this demo backing track that was really electronic, and slowly expanding it piece by piece, about weekly. And then also looking at different ways of presenting and communicating what I wasn't really hearing in the backing track that I wanted to hear in the cello. And I ultimately came up with this kind of very brief visual score that has kind of a timeline at the bottom and little blocks of text that contain short bits of instructions for how to kind of interact with a particular track. And it was a really neat process to kind of refine these different instructions and to make them a little bit more specific. And I really enjoyed hearing the finished product. I feel like the cello creates a lot of really great texture with the electronic track, and it does really end up supporting the whole piece. So real shout out to Ashley for like just playing that and putting it all together. And I would say that this was one of the last pieces, if not the last piece, that I had written for college, and I'm pretty proud of how it turned out.
Hi, my name is Anuj Bhutani, and this piece is called Everything is Always Changing. I wrote this piece shortly after the start of the pandemic, so last summer, when I think for a lot of us, the days were really kind of blurring together at that point. And so I was thinking a lot about this concept from meditation where, you sort of understand that on a deep level that, the world is never actually the same, even second by second, that things are always constantly changing very subtly. And so I wanted to explore this in a piece. And of course, I was really, really blessed to get to work with Ashley Bathgate on this. And we've now continued to work on it over the past year. And it's now actually twice as long and much more difficult, and we'll be premiering a new version of it soon under a new name. So keep an eye out for that if you like the piece and you're interested in seeing how it has developed and how it's changed from the version you hear tonight to the new piece. That might be really interesting. But in the meantime, I'll just leave you with the program note, which is a quote from Heraclitus from the year 500 BC. So he says, "As this same thing in us is living and dead, waking and sleeping, young and old, for these things having changed around are those, and conversely, those things having changed around are these." So, thanks for listening.